United States of America has a satellite. It's called Israel. And Israel is the home of the Jews. Now, a lot of people don't know this, but there are only 15 million Jews in the world. That is not a lot of people. If you think about 1.7 billion Muslims and 1.5 billion, you've got the Christians, you've got the Hindus, but the Jews are only a very small portion of the population of the world, with most Nobel Prize winners per capita. And so we're talking about a very old civilization that understands that through tradition and keeping of commandments, in that way, they are able to achieve excellency, taking care of the children, paying attention to the family, the values of togetherness that work. And Israel is very important because it is the only democracy in that region of the world. The only place where you can be openly gay without being thrown out of a window. The only place where women have rights. And they're just like us. It is a country that's westernized. It is the Western civilization. And that's where the war is on. They are against our values. They're against us.
Arabs serve in the government too.
Right. And in Israel, by the way, people don't know this. They keep calling Israel an apartheid state. It is not. They have Arabs in the government, Arabs in the military. It's a very open society, and all we're hearing over here is lies, manipulated lies. But we all know that because we know that fake news rules. We know what's been happening. Everybody here is aware of that. And that is why it's very important that we be together with our Jewish and Christian and anybody who wants to join us in the name of freedom, be with us. And I was born in a communist country. I know what it's like to live in communism. I lived in communism. Let me correct that. The Socialist Republic of Romania. Yeah. Because communists never like to call themselves communists. They call themselves socialists. They could be bringing you out and they still say they're socialists, right? So in the communist country that was at the time known as the Socialist Republic of Romania, I got to experience a lot of the wonderful things that they're trying to shut down our necks here today. And I got to experience the political correctness when you're not allowed to speak your mind. We had a double life in family and in the home. We spoke in a certain way, and my parents taught me certain values. Outside of the home, everybody knew that you had to abide by a certain set of rules of what you said and how you behaved, because otherwise you'd be flagged and you'd be singled out. And one of the reasons why communism and dictatorships in general work so well is because a large number of the population has been recruited through fear or stupidity to play along with the government. And we see today how easy it is with all the people who are on board now with trying to find out if you were vaccinated, or telling you to wear a mask, or turning you in if you have a party, or these are things that the Communist Party, the communists know that if you get snitches all over and your neighbor doesn't like you, so he's going to snitch on you because you're having a party, and that person is power tripping, and they're going to start telling you what to do and how to live your life and how to wear your mask and when to wear your and so we see that happening so much in society today. That's just a tiny little sample of the mechanism of Marxism. Now the Marxists have infiltrated at every single level our institutions. They're in the Pentagon, they're in the media, they're in the school boards, they're in schools, they're in the Department of Education. They are everywhere, and they started infiltrating a very long time ago. And now we're starting to see them come with the kinetic phase. Before they were infiltrating, now they're actually coming into the streets, causing violence, scaring people. They've moved on. And I think that Americans are starting to wake up to that. In our government right now, we have many, many openly Marxist elements. And these openly Marxist elements do not like Israel. They are anti-Israel and pro-Iran, and they have this BDS movement, which is the boycott, resistment and sanction, which is the boycott, divestments and sanctions. Sorry, I started on that one. Mm-hmm. Which is they're trying to pass legislations to boycott Israeli products and to boycott Israel as if Israel was Nazi Germany. These are the kind of laws that our government, our Congress is trying to pass. And pioneering these laws, you have the Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib and Bernie Sanders, and don't be fooled by the fact that so many Jews in the American government happen to be Democrats. They're Jews by ethnicity only, right? They know nothing about their religion, they do not practice their religion, they don't like Israel, they keep saying, oh, Israel's going to be fine, they condemn Israel, they don't align with the Jewish, with conservative Jews, and those people are Jews in name only. They are traitors to the cause, and shame on them. Shame on them for siding with the enemies of Israel. Shame on them for siding with the enemies of the United States of America. Those people hate America. They hate capitalism. They do not want us to succeed. It's not out of such incredible love for the ideology. These people are all in the pockets of oligarchs. They're all paid for. I'm not fooled by, they're not holier than thou. I don't think that they believe in what they're doing. They simply believe in their own personal gain. And this is where we have to start to unite ourselves. When I became an American citizen, it was one of the proudest days of my life. I swore allegiance to that flag, and I had tears in my eyes, and my heart was swelling with pride. I love this country. I came to this country because the impossible is possible and has been done before, and is being done every day. Americans don't realize this. I've lived in Canada 17 years. When we left communist Romania through France, we ended up landed immigrants in Canada. And at the time, Canada wasn't what it is today. Today, it is absolutely a Marxist whole, right? My mother lives in Canada. I haven't been able to see her in over a year. We can't even travel. So the problem with Canada was that Canada, even though it was very nice, has no American dream and no entrepreneurship. When people say we want to be more like Canada, we want to be more like Europe, no, you don't. People are not entrepreneurial. Here in the United States of America, you start a little business, you stick with your business, 2 years later, you're independent, you're on your own, you're taking personal responsibility. I see success stories around me every day. Every day I see people succeeding. Succeeding, starting small, building their little lives, personal responsibility. You don't have that anywhere else in the world. It doesn't exist. People don't have that mentality, and they don't know what that mentality is. When the wall fell in 1989, a lot of the people in communist Romania, for example, I still have friends there, when they were graduating that year, they didn't know what to do. Because the spirit of entrepreneurship has been eliminated from those societies. After a couple of generations of depending on the government, you don't know what else to do. It's like, a little bit similar to what happened to the Republican Party and to conservatives when we realized that we were dealing with rhinos. All right? These people were not looking out after our best interests. They were only looking out after themselves, letting the Democrats win, pretending they were putting up a fight for us, and not representing our interests. And when the masks fell off and we had Donald Trump to open our eyes, we all realized, well, what do? We were not prepared. We didn't know that we have to take over the precincts. We didn't know we have to take over the school boards. We didn't know any of the stuff that the leftists and the Marxists had been doing for decades. They had been using the Alinsky method, and if you haven't read Saul Alinsky yet, I really recommend you read Rules for Radicals. Hold your nose. You'll learn all of their tricks. Once you learn their tricks, you can apply them in reverse. But part of what they were saying was infiltrate from the bottom. You've lost the top, you're never going to get in at the top. Don't worry about that. Get in the school boards, get in the library boards, get in from the ground up in your neighborhoods. And this is what they've been doing for decades because they had a strategy and they were on the same page. And if you're a government employee and you're a Democrat, if you're a politician and you're a Democrat, if you're on the school board and you're a Democrat, you don't need to talk to leadership to know what you have to do. All right, they all know how to plug the toilets at the same time, and that's what. And because they're on the same page, and this is what we're learning right now, and we are learning how to stick together and how to develop a common strategy, which is going to help us save this country, take our country back, and save the American dream. So I'm going to let.
And wait, but you came to this country as a Democrat, and you Jexited.
Well, I Jexited. See, this is what happened was I was raised conservative. I never in my life wanted to be a Marxist. And then I came to the United States. I became a citizen. And I saw what Bush did with the war in Iraq, with, weapons of mass destruction, the economy was crashing. And so I did not realize that in the United States, we have a generational and longitudinal political plan. You know, it's like a corporation. Things get passed on, and every CEO is a link in making that plan come to fruition. But I didn't know that. I just took it at face value. And unfortunately, I was so mad at Bush that I switched and I voted for Obama. And I didn't realize what was going on until I started doing the research. But I'm not the only one. Well, I'm not the only one fooled, because on the other side, they voted for McCain and Romney. Yeah. And now we're seeing what they were, so everybody was fooled. I don't feel so bad now. Right. We were all fooled. But we were... and we were all fooled by the mainstream media, because they take these politicians and they built them up exactly the way they would a Hollywood star. They put in the music and the this and the advertisement, and they get your emotions where they want your emotions to be. And with the mainstream media, once your emotions have been hijacked, like we see what's going on the left right now, they make no sense. But their emotions, the cognitive dissonance, their emotions are so important that they can't see common sense. And so I was lucky enough to wake up before Trump. I became an independent. I said, I can't deal with the Republicans, the rhinos. I can't deal with these, with these Democrats. They're not what I thought it was. They're not the party of Kennedy. This, as a newcomer, I knew nothing about civics. I was learning everything on my own. And I realized that there was this thing called the deep state, this like peanut butter and jelly that never changes. You got the sandwich, the president, and then underneath you have the people, and in the middle you have the strata that never moves. These people don't go anywhere. They know where the keys to the kingdom are. And when Donald Trump came and actually spoke about the swamp, which I used to call the peanut butter and jelly, I knew what he was talking about. And I started doing my research, and little by little I became increasingly horrified about having voted for Obama. I'm sorry I voted for Obama. I'm sorry. Right. Okay. So, yeah, living in communism was no fun. And I didn't come to this country to live by the lowest common denominator with people who don't know how to help themselves. That's not what America's about. What do you think? Yeah.
So thank you very much for having us, Andrew, and the Log Cabin Republican Club. It's a pleasure and honor to be here today with you guys. Usually Sophia introduces how we came about, which I don't know if everybody knows, but I'll explain. But firstly, I want to just let you know that my new identity is I'm a Jewish xenophobe. The left has called me a Jewish xenophobe. Anyway, and I hold in my hand today the second most important book in the world. This is our Constitution, and every young American should have this and know about this, because this is probably the most important thing that we need to make great again.